We live in a weird world, and part of that world is video games. Gamers, developers, and especially billion-dollar companies are all weird. I mean, not all the time, but sometimes you're just kind of like, what were you thinking with this? And as you know, gameranx puts that together every month, and well, this is that. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, the weird gaming stories of October 2025. Starting off with number 10, Yoshiki Okamoto, the legendary mind behind Street Fighter II and Resident Evil. He stirred up a big old storm this month by saying Pal World, you know, Pokemon with guns, crossed a line that should not be crossed and urged players not to buy it. You see, the survival crafting monster game from Pocket Pair has apparently stepped on sacred Nintendo turf, infringing on Pokemon's ideas, which I don't know if you've ever heard me talk about IP, intellectual property, game mechanics particularly. It's bullshit when people try to own that. This is how genre works, okay? Sorry, but you don't get to say this game mechanic is illegally ours. Otherwise, you don't have Mario, you don't have Sonic, you don't have any of that. Because Mario was not the first platform game. Oh, is driving a car in a video game property of Bandai Namco because of pole position? No, it's not. Shut the hell up. If Okamoto's logic held, gaming as we know it would not exist. You do not get genres without shared mechanics, period. By this standard, the jump button is a patentable mechanic, and frankly, it needs to stop. This is insane. Did you know that Street Fighter II is not the first fighting game in existence? Yeah, it's not even the first Street Fighter game in existence, but the first fighting game was Heavyweight Champ, a black and white boxing game from Sega. Do they own fighting in video games? Have you crossed a line that should not be crossed with Sega, Mr. Okamoto? Sir, it's time for somebody to rip off the Nemesis system. That's all I gotta say. We've lamented it too long. Somebody's just gotta rip it off. Don't use their proprietary code because that is protected by patent and that will create legal problems. But I'm sorry, it's time to stop letting these IP landlords collect their rent. They don't want to make games. They want to collect rent off of ideas they had decades ago. And it's stupid. It needs to stop. And I'm just straightforwardly saying it that way from now on. Enough. If that's the kind of stuff you want to hear, might I add, a subscription is in order. Most people are not subscribed who are watching right now. And that means if you do subscribe, you're helping us out a whole lot. We absolutely appreciate it. It helps us a great deal, and we hope it helps you see some stuff that you want because it helps us make it. Thanks a whole lot for clicking subscribe, and we're going to move on to the next point. At number 9, a Famitsu editor climbed up Mount Yotai for, the release of Ghost of Yotai. Now, it's being framed as this guy was such a huge fan that he decided to do that. In pretty much every Western article about, like, you can go to Screen Rant, it's like, he was a fan. No, this guy was a Famitsu editor paid to do this. It makes me wonder if Sony slipped them information that made it look that way. Got basically a paid advertising campaign for free. Oh yeah, people love this game so much they're climbing the mountain that's in the game. Again, this guy was a Famitsu editor, and this was for work. Now, to be fair, I'm all about this guy doing that. I like the fact that a guy was like, you know what? I would like my job for this week for me to fly to a mountain and climb it because it's in a video game. As far as I'm concerned, that's a masterclass in getting your job to fund your bad ideas, and I will be talking to the gameranx bosses post-haste about a new Falcon travel show. Actually, I won't. I don't want to climb any mountains. Thank you. I can fly, so I don't need to climb any mountains. I mean, I gotta say, this is an example of how the framing of a story drastically changes what it is. I'm not a journalist. I'm not claiming to be a journalist, but a lot of the people who cover this kind of stuff are, and it'd be nice if they'd cover the thing as it actually happened, rather than try to frame it as, oh, he's so freaking dedicated to the game that he climbed the mountain. No, our man pitched it as a story and got paid to do it, and good on him. At number 8, somebody kept reimagining Skyrim as different types of genre of game using Sora's AI-generated thing. I know how much certain people hate AI, but I gotta say, a lot of cool ideas came from this. I mean, it's not something you can play, it's videos, but they're ideas that somebody could make into something you could play, and I would absolutely play the pixel art Skyrim. Looks like very old school Elder Scrolls, except more Skyrim-y. I'm maybe a little bit less interested in the visual novel version of Skyrim, but the dragon dog fighting one? Oh my god, I want the dragon dog fighting one to be a real game. Somebody make the dragon dog fighting one into a real game, please. These little tastes of things that could be, these are all awesome, and I would love to play every one of them. Well, almost every, not the visual novel one. I feel like that's probably not the most interesting version of Skyrim. At number 7, the Counter-Strike 2 skin market just had a meltdown. So, a completely innocuous update from Valve Corporation allowed players to trade 5 covert tier cosmetics into what used to be ultra-rare extraordinary skins, knives, gloves, etc. Suddenly, those hyper-scarce items lost much of their exclusivity and therefore their value. Huge numbers are being thrown around. Estimates of between $1 and $3 billion have been wiped from the skin market overnight. Some outlets are putting the market cap for the skin market at about $6 billion and then dropping to between 3 and 4 after this literal just game patch that changed how something worked. So, on some level, I like this. It means high-tier items are more accessible for casual players. That's actually, I think, good. But it's not good for collectors and investors who invested a bunch of money in virtually scarce in-game items. You know, infinitely replicatable data. I don't know. I understand that it is good that Valve can make money off of people being interested in what is a collector's market, more or less. But if I'm completely honest, I'm always on the player's side, not the collector's side. I like that people can play the game more now. There are people calling this a rug pull, but like, it's people being able to get stuff in the game easier. Like, it's a game. I know that's gonna piss somebody off. But to be frank, it's a video game. It's meant to be played and had fun with. It's ridiculous that there is a multi-billion-dollar economy based around skins in a fucking game. Like, that's the weird. Like, we should all acknowledge that that's weird, okay? We shouldn't even have to talk about anything that happened within the context of this economy. That's just weird. That should not be. At number 6, a player is turning old school RuneScape into a fish market scam. So, a guy known as Lucifer, nicknamed Trout Guy at this point, has set out to eat over 500,000 trout in-game, standing in World 499 at the Edgeville Bank and asking for donations, and getting fish donated by dozens of players. But the weirdness, and possibly genius, of this is that as the spectacle has gained traction, the market price for trout has nearly doubled. It was 70 GP, it is now 120 GP, mere days later. Some players believe he is not merely eating the fish, though. They believe he may be manipulating supply, collecting the donations, dumping the stock, and profiting off the hype. So while a lot of people see it as a weird publicity stunt, there are others that are saying, this looks like a pump and dump scheme. I, on the other hand, don't care one bit. This is a guy standing on the corner, accepting trout donations, eating as much of it as is necessary for it to at least be a question. Look, somebody turned eat a ton of virtual fish into not only theater and performance art, but also a potential Ponzi scheme, maybe? I don't know how Ponzi schemes really work. I just wanted to say Ponzi scheme. I like this. I hope this man is actually making tons of money off of eating a lot of trout in a video game. And number 5 is the ROG Xbox Ally, the ROG Xbox Ally. Apparently runs better with Linux than Windows. I mean, this isn't a new thing. Pretty much every Windows device runs better on Linux. I don't think there's a single device that Windows runs better than Linux on. It's just that Microsoft went through all this trouble of creating a version of the Xbox thing that deactivates a bunch of Windows stuff in order to make it so that it runs better. And surprise, surprise, it runs 32% better on Linux. I mean, I'm not going to lie and tell you that it's weird that it runs better on Linux. It's just not true. It's flat out normal. What's weird is that Windows can't seem to figure out how to make a gaming thing running Windows that at least gets in the ballpark of open source software that doesn't inherently have a profit motive. It's weird that we're told competition makes things better, and yet the thing that doesn't inherently cost a dime works 32% better, according to Tom's Hardware, than the thing by the billion-dollar corporation that, should have all of the advantages. I'm sorry, what the hell is that, guys? Microsoft, you're very sloppy. You've been sloppy. It's weird you're allowed to still be this sloppy. At number 4, did you know that over 5,000 games that were released on Steam didn't even break even on the $100 submission fee? That's speaking this year. So far, over 13,000 new games have been released, which means about 40% of them haven't made enough to break even on the submission fee, which is actually quite a bit lower than I would have expected. I assumed that more games than that were being released, and I assumed that less games than that were making any money, so I'm kind of surprised. Now, apparently, a little under 50% of games have sold fewer than 100 copies. About 65% of games earn under $1,000, and about 8% manage to gross over $100,000. Now, while I say I'm actually kind of surprised that more games have been released and that less of them have been making money, you got to keep in mind this is a crazy competitive market. If you make a game and you make money with it, it's kind of a frickin' miracle. I'm gonna be serious. If you make a game and you release it on Steam, that's a huge accomplishment. There's 13,000 games that came out this year on Steam. That's not really a lot considering there's 8.7 billion people on the planet. So, as much as it sucks for those people to not have made the $1,000 revenue threshold that gets you your $100 submission fee refunded, huge props to everybody who's been involved with any of those games, at least the ones that aren't just dogshit scams of some kind. At number 3, Balan Wonderworld, originally released in 2021, directed by Yuji Naka. Yes, that Yuji Naka of Sonic and insider trading fame. Balan Wonderworld, not a good game. Sold a copy in September. This is reported in October. That's why it's an October story. We didn't know about the single copy of Balan Wonderworld sold in September 2025, but now we do. Yes, I realize that it's a 4-year-old game at this point, and no, it is not exactly a hyped game, nor is it getting a critical reevaluation due to coverage of some kind, and if it did, I'm pretty sure people would reach the same conclusions. It is not a good game, but still, one copy is pretty frickin' low. Balan Wonderworld was a big budget game with legacy names attached, published by a huge company. Square is, let's talk pure name recognition. There is no excuse for selling a single copy of a big budget game. Just shelve the damn thing. Take it off. That's embarrassing. At number 2, the PS5 outsold the Switch 2 in September 25. Again, September numbers are reported in October, so keep that in mind. According to VG charts, the PS5 moved about 1.15 million units, which is nothing to shake a stick at. Neither is the Switch 2 sales. It's not desperately far behind. They sold 1.07 million units. I don't really know what to glean from this. Nintendo's Switch strategy has always been long tail. Sell a lot of things over a long period of time. And honestly, I don't think that that's a win for anybody. Again, PlayStation 5's price went up, and apparently its sales also went up, which is baffling. I don't know what's going on. What the hell is going on? Why did this happen? And it's not in a I want Nintendo to sell better than Sony way of asking that question. I want to know why the hell higher prices is working, I guess. That goes for either of these consoles. And finally, at number 1, Battlefield 6 players are saying that they will not revive anyone wearing this new camo skin called Wicked Grin, which is bright blue camouflage with a cartoon teeth mask. So people got very mad. Battlefield 6 has been kind of capitalizing off of this whole realistic soldier thing, while Call of Duty does stuff like Beavis and Butthead. They're like, yeah, we're going to do realistic soldier stuff. Well, if you go back on the reason that people are buying your game, they're going to get mad, and People view this as a harbinger of destruction in many ways. I think appropriately so. A lot of people do not like this stuff. I don't personally like it. If I'm playing Battlefield, I'm not playing Fortnite, so I don't want it to look like Fortnite. But again, like, it goes for Call of Duty as well. I'm not going to play as Beavis and Butthead in Call of Duty. And I'm usually not going to be the kind of person who is slamming companies for that kind of thing. Generally, I don't really care a whole lot about skins and whatnot, but I think that this stuff has kind of gone a little far. These bleeding of genres into one another, it doesn't work. I mean, I don't think I need to repeat the fact that Beavis and Butthead are in a Call of Duty game, but I mean, it's like the perfect issue here. Like, Peter Griffin in Fortnite, that's fine. Like, Fortnite is cartoony and dumb and silly, and I'm fine with stuff like that being there. I play Fortnite from time to time, and it doesn't bother me, but it's because it's contextually fine. It makes sense. There's no issue. Having a big cartoon grin in Battlefield 6, that doesn't make sense at all. It's weird. I want this to stop. Like, I want them to stop doing this. Understand, people are buying your game for a reason, right? You're not going to attract a whole new audience to your realistic game by just diluting it. I mean, you might get some new players, but you're going to lose a bunch of old players. And I get that some companies don't care about that, because what they really want is people involved that are just going to buy shit. They want whales. But the thing is, you can't make a game that's just for whales, because a large part of the reason there are whales there is because there are other people there. Whales kind of like to throw their weight around amongst other people. Like, they think that having more of these things demonstrates to others their value within the context of the game. Now, this is arguable, of course. I don't really think that it is something that demonstrates value. And also, it's not like we're going into games with the dentist system as our expectation. But, like, you gotta have, like, normal gamers around, you know, people who like the game because it's what it is as opposed to because it's everything. I just hate how the business model for gaming is changing. I hate this whole IP hoarding thing where the idea is to just own a bunch of stuff and make a bunch of money by having that stuff. This is kind of that, like, injecting various IPs into your game via skins is just a simple way to make money without really doing anything. I don't like it. I just don't like the implications of any of it. Make a damn game, all right? Well, that's all for today. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first, of course, is subscriptions. So click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications. Give us hype or whatever the hell is going on with, you know, everything now. We, of course, thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. We'll see you next time right here on gameranx.